Hello and welcome to Sunfish Budget. This is our channel where we're going to build a 4,000 square foot shipping container home with not much experience, and we want to take you along for the ride. So if you please hit that subscribe button, hit the like if you like the video. On today's episode we are going to be giving you the backstory of how we got to where we're at. How did this dream come about? How did we make this dream happen to get to the building process? If that doesn't interest you, you can always skip to episode number 2 where we actually start getting our hands dirty and start digging in. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you for clicking on this video, and please subscribe. Have a great day, guys. It started about 9 years ago. I went to a friend's business to go purchase some supplies from him, a part for my plow. It was in the winter time. The part that I needed was in a shipping container, a 20-foot shipping container behind his business. We go in this container to go grab the controller. And this is the dead of winter in Minnesota. I mean, it gets cold. And I noticed that all he had heating this container was like a little cheap electric fan. And I looked around, he's got the walls spray insulated, and I thought right then it clicked. Like, man, this thing is really efficient. Like, why wouldn't anyone want to build a house out of one of these things? I started watching stuff on YouTube. At that time, 9 years ago, there wasn't much out there for shipping container homes. I was watching these online and looking at images on Google of these houses, and man, they look really cool. I love that modern look, and just the capabilities of, I thought, hey, this is gonna be easy. You just put them together, and you put them together like blocks, and that's simple, right? So we had a couple of friends over one night for dinner, and I was talking about this idea of the shipping container home, and I was really enthused, really excited about it. The party got over, they left, everything's fine, I thought, and I was laying in bed, and Janna came into the room. She was looking at the dresser. I said, "What's wrong?" And she said nothing. And I said, "What is going on?" And she turned around and she was just bawling her eyes out. And she said, I don't want to live in a box. She thought my idea was terrible, and you know what she was envisioning in her head was roughing it. And something ugly, something small. And I said, honey, just let me show you. So we went online and I showed her some of these houses, and I explained to her more about what the vision was and why I liked it. And so it wasn't a couple of nights later, and here's Janna down with a customer of hers in the basement, cutting their hair and saying, and you can do this with them, and you can do that with them. And so she was hooked. Not doing any research or anything like that. I go to a machine shop and I figure out what the dimensions are of a 1/20th scale to make a 1/20th scale high cube 40-foot shipping container. All right, guys, these are the 1/20th scale model containers that I saw a metal company make for me. And so when I started this whole dreaming up process, this is what I used to start playing with in the garage. So this is what I would do, is I would go out to the garage and I would start playing with them, and I'd go, well, first I had some plans of doing them opposite ways. And I wanted a cantilever on the house somewhere, so I thought, oh, if we do a patio back here, and then I was thinking the front door was gonna be here. I would actually draw out how the bedrooms were gonna be on the containers. I don't know if that shows up, but I would draw that out with Sharpie, and then if I didn't like it, I would paint over it again, have a fresh drawing surface. I draw in windows I think I got some windows in this, windows and doors in the side of them. And I would for years, I would take and play with these in the garage. Just set them up different ways. I'd have crazy ideas of putting one in for like an elevator shaft, and have them going out and spaced out, have them underneath each other. And the most efficient way I found to build out of containers would be to stack them directly on top of each other, no cantilevers. But when I looked at that, I thought, well, that's a pretty, I don't know, to me that looked too simple and it looked ugly. So I decided that we were going to start playing with ideas of spreading them out from each other. So then I went from that idea to, okay, we'll spread these out and we'll have this here and that there and maybe a cantilever off the back. And then we're trying to figure out some way to get these, and then we would build this in here, grab another one. So then I would figure there'd be some type of roof over this and some type of roof over that, and I could get a patio out of this, and this would be roof over here. I had a dream that my bathroom would be overhanging over the ground somehow, and I would have a window in the floor of my bathroom and be able to essentially have like maybe a bird feeder down there or something. I could watch the birds while I was sitting on the toilet, but that didn't end up happening with our design. After playing with this, I figured that keeping them together, I liked that idea, because then we could cut the center walls out and have, you know, instead of 8 foot wide to deal with and put a room into, we would have a 16 foot or basically 15 foot. So we ended up playing with it, and our final design ended up being like this. And I don't know how I got to this, but we ended up having 2 containers suspended up here on beams and columns, and we'd have a big open area. Janna and I both really wanted big open spaces. We kind of just like, I don't know, I don't like living in tight spaces. And when we have people over, or we're entertaining or having a party, or kids have their friends over, whatever it is, it's just nice to have room and be able to go into a room and not have someone right on top of you. So that's where we came up with this design. We've got the cantilever that I wanted. We've got a second level patio here. So the design we ended up coming up with was these 2 suspended on beams and columns, which would give us an open area down here that was quite large, and we could do a lot with that, with the living room and the kitchen and the common area of the house. We ended up getting the second level patio out of it, and then we ended up having the engineer do this in such a fashion where we could turn this into a rooftop patio. I don't know why I want a rooftop patio, but I know I want a hot tub on the roof of my house. The reason for that is, one time I was in Colorado. It was in the winter, and a friend and I and his dad, we were skiing on a mountain in Telluride, Colorado. And we were staying in a condo that was halfway up the mountain, and it was just, the scenery was just beautiful. But at night, we would sit in this hot tub, and we'd have the stars above us. We're like at the top of this mountain, and the snowflakes would be coming down, and there was nothing basically above us to see other than the sky. So that's why I want a hot tub on my roof. I don't know when we're gonna get it. I don't know if that'll be a next year project. We obviously have to have money for that project, but it is engineered so that we can do that. For now, we're putting the roof on the house, and that'll work as a roof like it should. But it's designed so that once This 112 pitched roof is going to be on here. There will be standoffs that we can put on that roof, and that will actually support the weight of a deck, a gazebo, and a hot tub, a full-size hot tub on the roof. But this is how years of tinkering with these in the garage put us to where we're at this year, with engineered plans, and we don't live in a house anymore, and we have we're living in a camper. This is how we got to where we were at. So we needed a place that we were going to build this. Where we were at, we couldn't afford to tear down the house we were in. We couldn't put another house where we were at. So we were going to need to sell and need to buy something different. I really wanted this piece of property that we're sitting on right now that we ended up purchasing. But before I got it, I would come out to on the other side of this bridge. I would come from our existing house that we were in and come up to this bridge, sit in my truck, and I'd contemplate. It was in the family. I wanted to keep it in the family. Just be like, we could do something with this. But we ended up getting this 60 acres and selling our 6 acres with our house on the same day, within like the same hour. Closings were back to back, same place. It worked out unbelievable. I couldn't have scripted it that well myself. In my head was really easy, stack them up like boxes, turned into quite the build with, structural engineering involved, because we've got them cantilevered, and so it's not easy anymore. It wasn't cheap anymore. Could it be efficient? I sure hope so. This is what our dream has morphed into, and so we got this 60 acres with the farmhouse 3 years ago. And then came the work of planning what we were going to do. We're shipping containers, bought them out of a port out on the west coast, had them delivered one day. It was first 3 showed up, and I started like having a panic attack. Like I have to do this. Like this. I've been talking about this for 6 years, and everyone's asking, when are you ever going to do it? It became real, and now I find myself thinking that I have to figure out the stuff that I don't know. I mean, I know how to call someone and have them plumb something. I know how to call a buddy up and have them come pour some concrete. But engineering and building code and building inspections and all of this stuff it's Greek to me, and I don't know any of it. So I was over at the neighbor's house, who just so happens to be an engineer. He said, I was over at his house, and he saw that I was like a little beside myself, and he said, "What's up?" I said, "I'm just stressing out, man. I don't know what, like I've had this dream for 6 years, and now all of a sudden containers are showed up and I'm having a panic attack." I said, "I don't know how to find an engineer or a building permits. I don't know how to do all this." He goes, I'll engineer it for you. He wanted to tackle this, and I'm so glad he did. I mean, he did an absolute knockout job on our house. I mean, the welder just, every time he talks about the blueprints, he's like, I can't believe how detailed and how perfect they were. I would say we were in that engineering process for close to a year, kind of changing this and changing that. We got to the point where this is what we want. Talking to Janna about the interior, what she wants on the inside of the house. This is what we want. This is gonna work for both of us, and it's a cool house. It's big for entertaining. We like to entertain people. It's nice and open. I like that open feel. A lot of light. Engineering was finalized, and now it's time to go start dealing with building permit. And Andy was just super welcoming, super excited about our project. He's like, I've never done one of these houses, so I'm really excited. So now I got this guy on my team, and if someone's excited about what you're doing, they're going to be helpful. They're going to be an asset to what you're doing. So that really took a real huge load off my shoulders as far as worrying about an inspector who's gonna make you redo everything. So everything just started falling into place in the last 3 years. Getting the property, getting the containers, getting it engineered, getting all ready to go. And on April 19th this spring was the go date. It's been crazy. These last 2 months have been absolutely nuts. But I'm talking to people who know what they're doing and who are not just know what they're doing, but I'm talking to people who are experts in their field when I'm with whatever I'm dealing with, whether it be an electrician, a plumber, an HVAC guy, the inspectors, whatever it is, metal guys, painting, people who paint structural steel. I've got these people in my life and in my corner that are really good at what they do. So it's made this project doable. That is how we got to where we are at. And now we're in it. We're in it to win it. We're two committed and determined, stubborn, and just enthusiastic people. So between the two of us, we're gonna get this done, and we hope you enjoy the rest of this process that we're on. Thank you everyone for watching today. I want to give a special thank you to our audience back here, the sheep. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We want to take you on this absolutely fun journey that we're going to go on in building this container house. Thank you again, and we'll see you on episode 2. Have a great day, guys.